Hey, welcome back to Top Agent Training. I am Kurt with Inspectors Over Coffee, and we're going to do a section on structural. Now, there's some arguments in the industry about who's allowed to talk about structural and who's not, and we just don't get into the big pants, like arguing about weird things. We're not there trying to do a structural inspection, but it is our job to find symptoms of structural issues. When our inspectors are out at the house, we actually give them this thought tree, right? So I'm going to give you an example of some of the questions, because obviously you're almost never going to run into a more expensive problem than a structural problem, right? So your buyers want to avoid structural problems at all costs. So this would be another reason that we ask your clients to come towards the end of the inspection, because if you've got a little drainage issue, maybe that's a couple beers on a Saturday and we dig it up and just slope it away from the house. But maybe there's foundation damage, maybe there's something in the crawl space, maybe that's causing settling issues and the windows aren't shutting right. Well, now we've put this all together in our minds because we were able to evaluate the whole thing. One, if you're chatting with your clients, we might not be thinking, we're talking instead of thinking. And second of all, we can't possibly go down the road of every best case and worst case scenario with your clients, because otherwise we'd be there 6 hours instead of 2 hours. So here's the questions we have the inspectors ask themselves if they start to see some symptoms of structural problem. Did you interview the current homeowner? Do you see previous renovations? Are there permits for work? Are trees too close to the house? Look at that. I'm gonna make sure that's spelled right. Is there adequate drainage? How are the foundation, the porches? Is there adequate support? Is the roof drain away the water? Does the crawl space have adequate support? Does any of the interior walls appear? This is an interesting one, right? You go to an older house, maybe there's been renovations, and 20 years ago, somebody actually removed a load-bearing wall. Well, now we're starting to see the symptoms of it potentially. Are there settling cracks? Is there movement or bowing in the walls? Do the floors seem uneven? Do the doors and windows not close properly? And are the cabinets not flush? Again, just because the window doesn't close properly doesn't mean it's a structural problem, but as you start to add up all those different things and you're writing different things down, it may actually be that there is something going on structurally. So again, what we do is we break then structural up into the exterior, drainage, visible portions of the foundation, crawl space and basement if they're present, the attic, because a broken truss in the attic could actually be a structural issue. It could have happened because of a structural issue, or because it happened, you might be getting a little roof sag, which technically would be a structural issue. And then the interior. So again, we can talk about all kinds of different things with floors and walls and windows and doors not closing properly. And again, the whole goal here, just like plumbing, just like electrical, just like roof, we want to take anything that's potentially connected structurally, or like if a structure, in other words, a drainage issue causing the windows not to close right, causing some water damage behind the kitchen sink, is all combined, right? Potentially structural. So that's how we think about that. So that's a very short introduction to structural. Certainly we're not getting into how to fix things, but you kind of get the gist of what we're trying to, again, make sure your clients don't inherit problems unknowingly. Okay, we'll see you in the next training.